Okay, record. So you're gonna have to go ahead and click that and say that you've got it. You understand that I'm recording. And good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our monthly growth game plan. Today's topic is going to be all on the ins and out of nutrition. And we're going to talk about literally like what I just said, ins and out of nutrition, everything from relationship with food, macro, how to meal prep, and all the way down to the end, talking about our transformation cycle and how we can use nutrition and obviously all the other aspects of health to go ahead and change our body composition and get the look that we are achieving. So you do have to wait to the end to get all those good secrets, but they're not secrets, but you get what I mean. But anyways, thank you so much for being on. I'm really excited. Like I mentioned, that this is going to be a 60 to 90 minute, hopefully closer to 60, interactive plan. So the more we can share, the more we can get to know one another. I can better help coach you, see where you're at on your journey, and give you any tips, tricks, hacks that you might need that are kind of holding you back currently with your nutrition, or just things that you want to better understand. All those things are super important. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I also want to let you guys know you have access to your workbook that should have been sent to you via email. If you didn't have time to print it, or you're not looking at that right now, just maybe grab something to take notes, or just be present and you can watch it later and print everything out later. So whatever works for you. But again, just super grateful for your time and really excited to empower, educate, and just inspire you guys to make some changes to better your health. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll go from there. Bobby's going to be crying in the background because that's my Chion. All right. Can you guys see this right here?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Well, good morning. I'm going to go ahead and, oh, no, if I click there, that throws me off. I see. Makes sense. Don't click that. Okay. All right. So like I mentioned, a monthly growth game plan. The topic today is ins and outs of nutrition. And I did want to go over my vision for this today, because I think it's just important for us all to understand where I'm at. But I want to educate you on knowledge that'll help you boost your confidence within yourself and your health and growth journey. I want to empower you to take ownership of your decisions that could lead to a healthier mindset, optimal health, strong body, and better quality of life. Also I need to figure out how to move, y'all. Oh, there we go. Cool. To impact you in a way that inspires you to share your knowledge, wisdom, and experiences with others. So many of y'all are, whether teachers, educators, parents, grandparents, and I think it's so important for us to learn about nutrition, because as much as we have things that we would love to eat, regardless if it was good for our health or not, I think it's really important for us to understand what's going to be good for our health so that we can feel good, move well, digest well, right? And show up the best way we can for ourselves, our kids, our grandkids, and for work, all the things that are important to you. These are all the reasons why nutrition is important. So let's go into it. And this is, get yourself in a comfy place and space to allow yourself to be present and take notes. As I mentioned, you have a workbook that you can use, and it's downloadable, printable, so you can use that as well. So what does nutrition mean for you? And when I say that, I think if I would have reworded this, I would have said, why is nutrition important to you, right? Because some people, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, is like everyone's relationship with nutrition, with food, can be very different based on different socioeconomic statuses, different textures, different things. But currently where you're at, before we talk about anything, why is nutrition important for you? So whether you want to unmute yourself, the only one that's unmuted right now is my mom. So mom, you might get to be the first one to share. Why is nutrition important for you? And then someone else, you can feel free to unmute and share.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, nutrition is important to me to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And to feel good with myself, with what I eat and put in my body. So nutrition, I guess, is very important because I didn't really learn about good nutrition for a long time. And I'm learning now with you, and I love it. And I feel so much better when I eat better and eat healthier.
Awesome. Yeah.
And eat more protein.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, if you hang out in our household long enough, or if you're paying me for training, you know I'm going to talk about protein. And yes, we will talk about that later today too. Thank you for sharing, Mom. So I can't really see y'all. I was hoping I could, and I really can't, even though I have like 2 screens set up. So whoever wants to share next, why is nutrition important for you? Feel free to unmute and share.
Also, this is Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Nutrition. What does nutrition mean to me? I think my why is just my health. In the past 3 years, COVID happened, and I really feel that my health has not been the best, and that's why I'm trying to focus on my nutrition. I feel like when I do put intention into it, it makes a big difference and helps all areas of my life. So, yeah, that's what
Yeah, that's perfect. And honestly, we all experienced the pandemic, whether it did us good, bad, or ugly, right? But now just we get to take ownership of our decisions and how we want to learn and grow and change, right? So I love it. Thanks for being on, and thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Angel,
Yes.
this is Blanca, your mother-in-law. Hi. I want to say, honestly, as you know, and I've shared this with you, food has never, unfortunately, been important to me. It's not like, I don't have that. Some people have like a passion for food and they love to cook and they just, it's a passion. I don't.
Right.
Unfortunately, until with you, for example, I'm paying attention to, my baby making me my protein. So I'm paying attention to it all.
Right.
But I have been horrible about paying attention. If I like something, like give me a bean and cheese burrito and I'll eat that forever.
Right.
That's good. Give me a piece of pie and I'm happy. But I'm not like someone who's thinking about food, like, oh my gosh, I got to go eat, that's just, I don't have that. I wish I did, but I've been paying attention to some things that you have said. You talked about hunger pangs, which I kind of didn't know what that was, but I'm trying to pay attention to that, and then just trying to do better, because it's always been a very weak area for me.
Yeah, and that's so great. And even that awareness is good, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't make changes unless you're aware of what we need to work on, right? So that's already huge.
Right.
So big props to you. I'm really excited that you're on. I know Brittany's going to catch up with you in your bits. You guys will be on together, which is going to be kind of fun. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think it's going to be really cool to hear everybody's different experiences, for as much as you guys want to share or not. But it's going to be it's going to be really cool. And as we go through this, I hope that it adds value to you in some way, to each one of you, obviously. But yeah, I'm really excited for today's presentation, because whether we work out or not, or we're passionate about food or not, right, we all need to learn about it to figure out, at the end of the day, we all need to be healthy of some version, right? So nutrition is a big part of that. So thank you for sharing. Let's see, does anyone else want to share before I move on to the next slide? All right, I was like, I'm trying to see if anyone unmutes, so I can't see that. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next slide here. And this is gonna be really important, right? So, I thought this is the other one, but this is still also important. So purposes of nutrition, there's probably an even longer list here, but may help you live longer, clears up your skin, teeth, eye, and healthy eyes, supports your muscles, boosts your immunity, strong bones, lower risks to different diseases and cancers and type 2 diabetes, all that's super important, supports healthy pregnancies and breastfeedings, and helps the digestive system. And this is something we already talked about. So whenever you see that cute little pencil icon, that's where, if you're using your workbook or if you're taking notes, this is where you get to kind of jot down, again, why is nutrition important for you? What does nutrition mean to you? What is your experience, right? So on this next page, I do want us to share a little bit more, and it might dig a little bit deeper, and it might be kind of odd to share this in whether a group setting or in general, but if you haven't thought about your relationship with food, it's really important to be transparent with all the factors that are at play that make us feel how we feel about food or nutrition, right? So we have tastes and textures, right? Some people don't like certain soft tastes, like the cottage cheese, they're like, no thanks, right? The sweet, savory, soft, crunchy, sensory, that might be a really big appeal to people, right? Whether you love your chips or you love your creamies. I love creamy. I love a little bit of everything. Then you have your early food experiences, right? Whether it's you must clear your plate before you can leave the table, right? Did anyone ever hear that one? Or the like super guilt driven one of like, there's hungry kids in Africa, you need to finish your whole food, right? Or different socioeconomic factors, cost of groceries, income level, location, different places may be food deserts. And you may have grown up in some place like that where you didn't really have access to really healthy foods and all your foods came out of a box, right? And that's okay because our parents did the best that they can. But now as adults, we have full ownership what we can potentially be setting ourselves up for. Again, still being mindful of all these factors. Accessibility to fresh foods, whole foods in stores and stores influences choices. Attitudes and beliefs, right? Some people are more of the, I'll eat whatever my family eats. It's okay, I'm not picky. If that's what's already made, I'll eat that. Or, oh, I'll just eat whatever the baby doesn't eat, right? Or I'll eat whatever the kids leave, right? Or I have to clean my plate. Education and awareness. Like we just really didn't know about what is healthy food, what is non-processed food, what are more whole foods, what are fibrous foods, right? Biological factors, and this is what Blanca was mentioning, the hunger cues, right? We might not even be aware that we're hungry. And some of those things is just that it's an awareness thing, and it's some of those things is it's just that we've already trained our body to power through it, that we've already suppressed that it's going to take some unlearning and some work to actually listen to those hunger cues, right? And then different diagnoses is obviously that are going to affect that. And then biological factors, stress and different moods are either going to heighten or suppress our hunger in different ways. And you might notice when you're stressed, what do you tend to eat more of? When you're in a good mood, do you tend to drink more? Do you tend to this more? Like, what does that look like? So these things are all super important. So I know there's not a little pencil icon here, but I would love for at least 3 people to share. So whoever wants to unmute themselves, amazing. And then I will ask a couple people to hop on as well and to share. So whoever wants to unmute themselves and go first, go for it. And then, so I don't have to do the whole call on people teacher vibe.
Yeah, I'll go first. Hi
Thanks,
everyone.
Erica.
Yeah, my name is Erica. I just started and I'm super excited. I think my relationship with food, right now in the current place where I am with my life has become more of a chore. And being like proactive for my longer days. So really finding that like not necessarily ever getting hungry, but being preventative where I find time slots to like eat, because then I have to enter like a 4-hour time slot where I'm not going to have the privilege of like using the restroom or having like a break to myself. And so I think that that reality is something I want to be a little bit better at, more mindful of with like my meal prep and everything. So then those break times, I do have the sensory aspect, like the more like mindfulness aspect. I haven't gotten there yet, but I can have the recognition that it's more of a proactive approach than it is a beneficial approach. So I'm looking forward to changing that mindset for myself in the long run of things.
Ooh, thank you so much for sharing. You worded that very
Yeah.
nicely. So thanks for sharing that. That's great. I appreciate it. Let's see. Anyone else want to share before I start picking up people?
Sure, I'll go next.
Yay.
This is Kristen. I am definitely someone that loves like a good savory dish or meal. I think from early on in childhood, I was raised by a dad that grew up like incredibly poor, and he also was a lieutenant for LAPD, so what he said definitely went in our house. And it was very much like you need to clear this plate, like do not be wasteful. Like there are children on the street that like do not have access to a full meal, and so like you weren't able to like leave our dinner table unless your plate was clear. And I also grew up with like Southern and like Midwestern grandparents who just like their love language is just to feed you until you're about to pop. And there was like just always an abundance of food being present. And it was like offensive if you did not accept what they were feeding you. And so I think that that probably did not create like the healthiest of food relationships for me and for the other like kids in our family. And then many of us have struggled with our weight over the years, and trying to essentially like undo and unlearn those kinds of habits and mindsets. And my dad has since shifted, I think, especially becoming a type 2 diabetic later in his life. And now he's like all about like portion control and like not eating until everything's gone. But like, I think by then, for us as kids, like the damage had already been done. And so as adults, it's like we're all making better decisions. And um, for hopefully for my brother and I, we're making the decisions in our 20s and 30s to hopefully not be getting diagnosed with serious things in our 50s and 60s.
For sure.
um
For sure. Oh,
and
sorry,
I
go ahead.
think that working with you has helped me realize what I'm consuming in terms of what I'm drinking. And I think that when we talk about food, we often don't talk about beverages. And by that, I mean like my coffee choices, soda consumptions, alcohol consumption, like what kind of like sugar and what kind of calories is in all of that as well. And there were some days where I was maybe like drinking half of the calories that I should be consuming for an entire day. And so that's something I'm just a lot more mindful of now.
Yeah, that's really great. Thanks for sharing. And you're so right. I'm excited that we are going to talk about beverages as well, because that is part of nutrition, whether it's the coffee, the alcohol, the electrolytes, whatever it is that we're drinking, all that counts, right? Anything you put into your body is now considered nutrition, even if it's not technically nutritious, So thank you for sharing. One more person. Anyone want to volunteer themselves and unmute and share? Monica, you've been working with me for a while. Do you want to share a little bit about nutrition and your journey? Okay. Let's see. And mind you, I get that some people might be busy. So if you guys are, just say like, girl, I cannot I cannot talk right now. Feeding a baby, no problem. But I'm going to share a little bit of mine. And I think it's just, in general, some things with just the Latino culture is just like Kristen had mentioned, right? Like when you see family, they're going to feed you. And if you say no, it's offensive or it's rude or it's not respectful, right? Or the having an abundance of food. And I grew up with an abundance of food in my childhood. It was me, my mom, my dad, and my mom always made enough for 12 people, even though we were a household of 3, and we'd go serve ourselves once, twice, 3 times. And if the plate's finished, amazing. Like, and then it was always that we need something sweet at the end. And that is something that is not necessarily has to be true. It's just something that is a habit, right? That we have developed. But you will take on the habits that your parents, that your association, and the people around you show you, right? No worries, Monica, you're good. So I think it's just important to be mindful as we grow up as adults, like which habits of those are going to be helpful to continue to teach your kids, to teach your grandkids, to teach the people around you if you are an educator, etc. And which one of those are you going to put effort into unlearning, right? And that we get to take ownership over that is no longer true, right? We don't no longer live with those parents. We no longer have to abide by their rules that they set for us. Like, what can we change that's going to make sense for us? So I hope you guys took some notes on what that means for you, because that's going to be a big factor in how this next one is. And this is going to be understanding your relationship. So again, we have unhealthy and healthy. So I am going to read through this. And I want you to kind of sit with it and acknowledge, like, okay, if I were to make these little bullet points, check marks, where are you on what side? And or where were you before, and how much have you leaned more towards the healthier side, etc. Or in different seasons, where have you gone back and forth? Okay, so in an unhealthy relationship with food, you feel guilty about eating. You avoid or restrict foods that are bad for you. Notice how the bad's in quotes, because there are no good or bad foods. You have developed a long list of rules surrounding the foods you can and cannot eat. You rely on calorie counters or apps to tell you when you're done eating for the day. You ignore your body's natural hunger cues. You have a history of yo-yo dieting or following the latest diet fads. You feel immense stress and anxiety when eating in social settings due to fear of what others may think about your food choices. You find yourself restricting and or binging food. Okay. So again, if you're taking notes, make some notes of what are some of these things that still land on this unhealthy side. And then let me go ahead and read over the healthy. And I'm going to pull this over here. So you give yourself unconditional permission to eat the foods you enjoy. You listen and respect your body's hunger cues. You listen to when you're hungry and you stop when you're full. No foods are off limits. You don't obsess over the number on the scale. You don't let the opinions of others dictate which foods you eat. You don't feel the need to justify your food choices. You understand that you're not defined by the foods you eat. You enjoy all the foods in moderation. You choose foods that make you feel your best, and calories are not the focus of your food choices. So this one is another one that I think if someone wants to share a little bit about where they're currently at and maybe where they were before and maybe where they're currently at now based on what you're working on, feel free to unmute and share. Obviously, this can be a sensitive subject, so I totally understand that as well. And I never want to downplay any of these experiences or act as if I am the therapist that can help you dive deeper into some of these potential, whether eating disorders or unhealthy relationship with food. But I really hope that this page helps you bring awareness to maybe what are some things that you still might need some work on, or maybe some things that you didn't even know that could be underlying things that are just affecting your overall health and that can make sense in other areas. So again, some of these things, yes, as a coach, I can help with. But if they're a little bit deeper, I think it's really important to connect with the therapist. So I just always want to make that clear that I'm not a therapist. So if anyone wants to share, feel free to unmute.
I can share.
Yeah.
My relationship with food has been great. I feel I could eat just about anything. I'm not a picky eater. I'll always try something once.
Yeah.
But lately, I just feel that I'm being a lot more conscious of what I'm eating, thanks to you, because I am going through my healing process,
Yeah.
and I hadn't been eating enough protein.
Right.
And I was noticing that I was craving like sweets and, eating a little more snacks throughout the day. And I thought I was eating healthy snacks because I was eating like nuts and fruits, but I wasn't eating enough protein. So now I become a lot more conscious when I go to the market, and you told me to look at the back and the labels and everything.
Yeah.
And it takes me a lot longer when I go shopping, but
Right.
it has helped me a lot. And I feel a whole lot better throughout the day. I don't crave as much and I feel a lot better. I sleep a lot better. So just listening to my body and listening to all the advice you've been giving me has been working great. And I
Yeah.
feel really good.
That's so good, because honestly, whenever we are just snacking or we feel like you pretty much said it exactly, is that when you're snacking a lot, even when we think we're eating the healthy foods, like you said, the nuts, the fruits, not saying that those are bad, not at all. Nowhere in here are we ever going to label foods good or bad, right? But it's just in moderation. So if you're not eating enough of the protein, you're not having enough that's going to keep you full, and you're going to get hungrier every 2 hours, versus when you eat enough protein, the 30 to, I don't know, 50 grams, depending on where you're at in that journey, you're going to feel full for at least 4 hours, and it also depends on your metabolism, how much you're moving. There's so many factors, right? So these are not solid numbers, but it's just going to be really good for you to understand. So I love when I meet a snacker that is willing to prioritize their protein and make some changes, and how amazing you guys feel after. I'm just like, okay, cool. This is so worth it. So anyways, thank you for sharing, Mom. That makes me happy. Mind you, I took my mom through this whole process the week before we did this. So I sat her down and we did this whole thing. And so it was cool. And I've done this with a lot of my clients, obviously, but with my mom, a lot more one-on-one. So it's been fun. Anyone else want to share on this one before I go to the next slide? Awesome. So from here, let's talk a little bit about mindful nutrition practices. So if you were to be my client day one, right? And and everyone's going to walk in at a different place. Not everyone's going to get the same nutrition practices right off the bat, but these are going to be the ones that I'm going to recommend to anyone and everyone, because anyone can do this. You might not be logging your food on MyFitnessPal right now, but anyone can take 3 deep breaths prior to eating, right? What does that do? That allows you to help slow down your nervous system, calm down your fight or flight, so you can put your body in rest or digest, so that your body can actually digest everything that's happening, and that you can be present when you eat. Next, eating in a calm environment with no distractions. I am guilty of scrolling on my phone when I'm eating, or watching TV when I'm eating, right? Definitely guilty, but I no longer eat in the car. I no longer eat on the go, where that used to be warm up my food, eat on the go, get my navigation ready, put my podcast on, all the things, and that is just so distracted. And whether I may think that is stressful or not, my body doesn't know that is, my body thinks that it's stressful. Therefore, I'm in fight or flight, and that food, whether it's the best meal prep ever, it's not going to digest as smoothly because our body is in this fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, think of it, go back to caveman days, right? Fight or flight, and a caveman is getting chased by a lion. Is your body going to prioritize running faster, or is it going to prioritize digesting all your great food and your meal preps and your 30 grams of protein you just ate? It's going to focus on running faster. So if your body's in this heightened state, it's going to focus on whatever it needs to do to keep you safe, to survive. Even though we have no lions, but our lion now is sitting in traffic, being stressed about the work emails coming in, being stressed that you, whatever the stressors are in life right now. So it's really important to give yourself, and this is the 4th one, set aside 20 to 30 minutes to eat, so that you can be in a calm state, so that you can take the 3 breaths, you can be in no distractions. Mind you, I get that we have parents, we have nurses, we have teachers, we have people that are working, but I want you to be honest with yourself when you say you have no time. And I'm not going to go through like, oh, we all have the same 24 hours. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, can you be more intentional with how you set aside time for yourself? I get that you work. I get that you have your own business. I get that you have a kid that needs you. I understand that. But can you ask for help? Can you set the boundaries? Can you set a different standard for yourself to allocate the actual 30 minutes of your break to sit down and eat and not let anyone come in, to actually time block that somewhere, So that's going to be really important for you to be honest with yourself about what you can choose to make some changes in, right? Another thing is choosing high fiber foods that take more time to chew. So such as vegetables and fruits. That chewing process actually helps you burn calories, which is crazy. Not that we're focusing on just burning calories. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that is important for your body, not only to actually chew enough, and more whole foods are going to make you chew longer. And that's important, but also to being more mindful with how slowing down when you eat, savoring your food, that's going to be really important. And then just fiber in general. We'll talk about the benefits of that a little bit later. And then we have identify the reasons for your food choices, right? If you were to truly be aware and mindful every time you eat, and let's say my mom's example, you reach for the nuts, and let's say, oh, I'm hungry later in the evening, I'm watching TV, I feel a little hunger. Let me grab some nuts. Why did we grab nuts? Are we craving something salty? Or why didn't you grab the kettle popcorn? I don't know. Whatever the options you might have chose. But why are you choosing salty? Why are you choosing sweet? Why are you choosing processed? Why are you choosing unprocessed? What does that look like? And be mindful when you choose those things. When you're stressed, do you choose the Sour Patch Kids, or do you go make a salad? And it's just good to be honest about ourselves with where we're at, so that we can, again, be mindful, be intentional, be aware when we're making these choices, because it's always a thought in our head. We just either choose to ignore it like a notification at the top of our phone, or we choose to click on it and be like, okay, yeah, let me think through what really aligns with my goals, how I want to feel the next day, etc. Another thing is use smaller plates or different utensils. There was a point of time where I was learning this with my coach, and I was using chopsticks to eat a lot of things. And that really helped me slow down, because I am someone that eats very fast. Mind you, I didn't have to fight for food at all growing up, but my dad ate really fast. Therefore, I ate really fast. So I grew up eating fast, and it took me a long time and a lot of practices to understand that, 1, I don't need to eat fast. Like, no one's going to take my food away. 2, that I'm not setting myself up for success to digest my food well. Again, going back to the fight or flight, arrest or digest, but using a different utensil like those chopsticks really made me slow down, really made me enjoy each bite. And there was no way I can eat too fast with that. So that was really interesting. And if you do find yourself rushing, like I do myself, put your utensils down, give yourself a minute to refocus, maybe have a sip of water. If you're someone that enjoys eating with people, this is a good time for you to potentially pace yourself with a slower eater. My mom eats slow, so when I eat with her, I try to pace myself, or I try to not finish like the whole 10 minutes before her. Even if I finish 5 minutes, I know that that's a win. So things like that. So which of some of these practices, or which of these mindful nutritional practices can you be more intentional with, and which ones have you not heard of, and which ones have you're like, oh yeah, I've been really working on taking the deep breaths. What is that for you? So I'm going to have at least 2 people share here before I move on. Mom, you're unmuted, so I'm going to ask you to share for the first person. Can you hear me? Oh, I don't think she knew I called on her. Okay, cool. Did I click something? Oh, very good.
I can share, Angel. This is Blanca.
Yeah, share, please.
For me, intentionally, what I've been doing now is, and I don't know if that kind of fits in with what you're saying, was just kind of being intentional about eating, like not skipping meals, like
good. Yeah.
You know, like making sure I'm boiling a couple of eggs and I take them to work. And even if I'm not necessarily like hungry, I go ahead and I eat it. And I actually, when I'm eating it, I'm finding, oh, you know, okay, you know, and I'm getting a little bit of hunger. I'm feeling the hunger, which is for me a big deal, like feeling that hunger. So I've just kind of just been being purposefully eating and watching what I'm eating much more. What I struggle with is kind of doing, like forcing myself, because I have time. There is no excuse. I can say all I want, I don't have time, but I have time. It's just making that discipline to say you're going to do it. Like I could never do meal preps. I'm just not, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it would kill me. Thank you, Brittany. But yeah, it's a struggle. It is a struggle.
Yeah.
But not because of not having time, just like a lack of discipline at least on my part, is a lack of the discipline.
Sure. Yeah. And it is going to take trial and error, trying to figure out how it fits in, when you prioritize things. But like you said, you do it in the morning, you pack it to go, and that's already a great start. Like, I love that. So it's gonna give you a lot of benefits in the future tenfold. And hopefully the day of, as you're eating as well, you feel a little bit better. So that's good. Thanks for sharing. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go to my next page. Now that I see the Brittany's on, I'm definitely going to call on you. Fun. All right. So honoring your hunger cues. Okay. So if you have your workbook, this is a whole page of things. And I hope that you guys take time to whether reflect, write it down, journal about it, whatever it is that you need to do. But how do you know when you're hungry? And this one I do want us to share a little bit more. So like if you can mute yourself in a little bit, how do you know when you're hungry? What do you feel? What do you notice? What distracts you from honoring your hunger cues? And what do you tell yourself when you notice, right? Like I think I talked about this the other day on my stories. I was working on literally this presentation and I felt hungry. Mind you, I'm pretty good at hunger cues because I used to get hangry, and Brittany and nobody wants me hangry because that's just not fun for anyone. So I would always say, I was like, I'm about a 7. I probably have like 30 more minutes until I get hangry, which is like good for people to know, but no one needs to get to that hangry point, right? So my scale, I just said, is a little bit opposite of the scale that I'm going to bring up right now. But something I first noticed, and I'm actually going to start with the end part, when I'm too hungry. Okay. Because sometimes people are like, oh, I didn't even notice I was hungry, but you might have noticed it, but it might have just been like that notification that you just kept ignoring at the top of your phone, right? So it's not that you didn't get the notification or whatever it is, you just chose to ignore it. And whether You didn't realize that you chose to ignore it, you still did. So for me, when I'm very, very, very hungry, I start to get a headache. Obviously, I start to get quiet. I start to get a little moody. Okay, so that is on the way too hungry spectrum, right? I'm beyond hunger. So that when I encounter food, I'm gonna eat whatever comes my way, whether it's bag of chips while I'm cooking, whether it's whatever it is. I'm no longer, I may or may not be have as much self-control at that point because I let my hunger get too far, right? So what are the things that I ignored? So I can say that maybe I ignored when my stomach started grumbling about 2 hours ago, right? Maybe I ignored when I noticed, when I was like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, let me just have more water. Maybe I'm just thirsty. I had the water. Okay. And then I still got the headache, different things like that. So those are important to understand, whether you start with what do you feel like when you're too hungry, or what do you feel like when you're not hungry. You get to write out your own scale. Okay. So I'm going to have, let's see, Brittany, because I already mentioned you. Do you want to share some of your hunger cues, when you notice, when you don't? And I know that hunger for you is a little bit different than it is for me. I'm someone that goes to bed dreaming about what I'm going to have for breakfast. Not Brittany, but if you want to share that, go ahead.
I am really good at ignoring my hunger cues, especially because I work out at 5 a.m. and generally for construction at around 6:45 or 7 a.m. is when my phone starts ringing incessantly. So that's why I work out at 5 a.m. So I will feel myself like, and the same thing happens again in the afternoon. Usually I'll go to my job sites and then I'll get to the office at like 11, 12, 1 o'clock, and it'll get to that time and I'm like, oh man, I don't feel good. And I'm like, well, duh, I haven't had lunch yet. So I've had to like, I have to like intentionally like keep my lunch pail on my desk so I'm looking at it. Otherwise, like if it's not there, or if I put it somewhere behind me, I will completely forget. And then the other thing is like my huge water jug. Like I have to have an enormous water jug because I had a half gallon, and then by the time I would get to the office, I would be out of water and like I would not be feeling good. So like people make fun of my obnoxious gallon of water, but like it's just what works for my lifestyle. So I have to make like, I like to remove the obstacles to make it as easy as possible, which is like my obnoxious water jug, and then like my huge keeping my lunch pail literally on my desk by my monitors. So otherwise, like if I put it down, it'll be out of sight, out of mind.
That's so true. I love that. And I love that you brought up the water, because that's another thing of hunger cues, right? Sometimes we forget that that our water consumption or just our hydration level will affect our hunger cues. Sometimes we are genuinely thirsty, and sometimes we're like, okay, I need water and I need food, and I'm just like at negative 10 on this scale now. But thank you for sharing. And if people don't want to share out loud, you guys can type it in the chat and I can read it too, because I just figured out how to pull that up. But I'm gonna pick on one more person if you guys don't mind. Let's see, Wendy, do you want to share a little bit about your hunger cues? Oh my God, nice. I think I saw that you unmuted. Let me know if you're good.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you're good.
Okay, perfect. My hunger cues are headache, dizziness, food rage, and yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, so that's all the way towards the end, right? When you're already way too hungry, correct?
Yeah, when I've waited too long, and that usually happens when I'm like with family or friends or a partner. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's hard to plan when I'm gonna eat. And I notice that other people can go the whole day not eating, and I'm like a person that's eating every 2 to 3 hours. And then when you mentioned earlier, like I'm not eating enough protein, I'm like, okay, maybe that's why I'm eating every 2 hours. So interesting, but that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, no, that's super helpful, and I'm glad that that made sense. And I'm gonna go over on this next slide right now. I'm gonna actually click over, and that's gonna share a little bit of what that looks like. So for me, I would have done this scale a little bit. Oh no, maybe not. Okay, so hunger, 1, get me some food now, and that's kind of where we've been talking about, right? The headache, the dizziness, the like just hanger, right? The 2, I got the edge off my hunger. I've eaten a bit, but I'm still hungry, right? 4, I'm feeling better, but I'd be mad if I had to leave the table. 6, I got a bit of fuel in the tank, but I don't feel super satisfied. 8, I'm feeling energized, like I can go for a walk. I have room for the gelato, but I also don't need one. I think that phrase in itself is so good. Like, I have room, but I don't need one, right? And not saying that I can't have one. I think that's really important to notice that I don't need one. 9, I'm feeling very content, but I would not want to move around for a lot right now. And 10, my abdomen feels a little tight and I'm kind of just want to lie down. So our household, whenever in general, whenever we go to Benihana, we kind of already know we're gonna get to that 10 hunger because like we love the rice, we love our meals that we get and just all the things. And we always like just wear the comfy clothes that we don't have to unbutton our pants at the end. Like, so if we already know we're going to that place, like how can we be mindful instead of getting to that 10 uncomfortable fullness, right? Because yes, we don't want to get to the point to where we're so hungry that we like are constantly ignoring it, right? And we have to wait for the dizziness, we have to wait for the hunger. That's not the goal. The goal is to try to find those numbers in between and realize like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling kind of hungry. And even if that's something that you have to do for yourself is like every 2 hours, that's totally okay, Wendy, that you have to ask yourself like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hungry am I, right? And however you use your scale, my scale of 10 mean my 10 is that I'm hungry now versus on here it says like fullness. So whatever, however you want to use it. But just choosing to think like, okay, how hungry am I? Or like, when will be the best time for me to eat? Or can I just pack the food now? I know that some of my friends and family don't want to eat till 4 p.m. because they think that it's better on Thanksgiving to not eat till the last meal of the day and just to save all their calories. But I know what's best for me is for me to eat my breakfast and my lunch so I can show up happy, content, feeling good, friendly to that Thanksgiving dinner, right? Or to that brunch or to whatever that is. So don't go based on your friends to your right and left. I'm not saying that just to you. I'm just saying in general, right? Like we get to choose what's going to be best for us because in general, if you don't feel good, that's going to kind of affect other people around you, right? If I'm hangry, no one wants to be around me. That's not fun for anyone. So I think it's just really important to know that. But something that I want to bring up here is 80% fullness. Has anyone ever practiced that? Is that something that you guys feel confident with? And do we understand why it's important to be 80% full instead of the 100% or instead of the 110%, right? Or instead of the just, the light snackers where we're just like, okay, 80% means I feel pretty good, I feel energized. But if you're like, oh my God, I don't have time to eat something, let me just have half a protein bar right now, right? Then you're still a little bit hungry. And then 2 hours later, oh, I'm still hungry again. What else can I have? Okay, let me just have some nuts. Okay, let me just have some chips, something. And then we're never to that 80% fullness, and we're not able to give ourselves the gaps according to that we need to feel good about our eating. So I hope this scale was helpful. I don't think you guys should have gotten this in your worksheet. And this is actually really cool because this is going to give you a better idea and how to practice these hunger cues, right? So just before eating, how are you feeling? Check in with yourself, make some notes. Immediately after eating, how are you feeling? Give yourself, are you at that 80% fullness? How are you feeling 1 hour after, 2 hours, 3 to 4 hours? Mind you, everyone's hunger is going to be different. I know that I said that if you eat enough protein, it might take you 3 to 4 hours. But if your metabolism's pretty fast and you're walking your 10 to 12,000 steps, you might be hungry a little bit sooner. Or based on your goals, you might have to eat sooner because that's just what it needs. So don't get super locked in on these timeframes and these numbers, but just know that nutrition is individualized, right? So I hope that this is helpful. You guys can use this for your future hunger cues stuff. All right, so here we go. Calories. Ooh, I was so tempted to not put this slide because I have everybody from every different generation here, and I love that. I love that because I want to educate everyone. But when I show this slide right here on the right, and it says weight loss, and this goes calories eaten versus calories burned, I want us to be very mindful that there is so much more to it. In general, if you are gaining weight, you are eating more calories than you are burning. If your weight is balanced and you've been sitting around a certain number for a while, then your calories burned and your calories eaten are the same. right? So calories are our friends. I do not want you to restrict calories. That is not the goal of this call. The goal is to be mindful, to eat things and to eat the foods you love while also eating nutritious foods and eating things in moderation, right? There's no good or bad foods. I love a donut and I'm not going to say, oh, I was bad today because I ate a donut. No, I enjoyed a donut and it didn't have much protein. It didn't have any protein, you know? So, and that is okay. That doesn't mean I wasn't going to eat it. It just means I wanted to enjoy it. Did I eat a whole box? Probably not. But that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So getting the right amount of calories for you will make a significant difference in everything you do, since calories are the building blocks to energy, and energy is the currency of life. You need energy. Okay. So you need to eat calories. So please, please, please prioritize eating. How you digest, how you move, how you think, how you feel, how you recover are all impacted by your calorie intake. Okay. Your calorie intake will dictate whether you lose, maintain, or gain weight. Okay, so I get that calories are just the basic form of everything, right? Everything has a calorie attached to it. Even the low calorie stuff or the no calorie stuff, if you pour enough of that no calorie syrup, it still has calories. You just have to read the back to see what the serving size is, because sometimes if it's so small for that teaspoon, but if you're having half a cup, now you got X amount of calories, right? So be mindful. You got to read those labels. So now let's go into macronutrients. This is really important. Okay. So you have your macronutrients, which are your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. Okay. Carbs. The purpose of carbs are to increase energy, support digestion, and brain function. I'm pretty sure many of us have heard or potentially still believe that carbs are bad for you or carbs make you fat. And I am here to tell you they do not. They give you energy. They make you feel better. They will make you have more muscle, all the things. They will just give you a better quality of life if you eat enough carbs for where you're at. Okay. Mind you, we still get to be mindful of the calorie intake and where you're at, but carbs are not bad for you. Fats help with hormone and cell function, energy store, and appetite regulation. Okay. So fats are important. There's some people that love more carbs. There's some people that love more fats. I love fats. I love my cheeses. I love my sauces. I love all that. Brittany loves carbs. She can eat so many carbs and her body loves it and her body digests it well. My body loves fats, but it'll put it on very differently. So we get to be very mindful of these things, right? And everybody's body's going to be different. So please don't turn to your right, to your left, look on social media or look at your family and say, wow, I just need to do their diet because they look great. That is not true. Your body is unique to you, and based on your movement, your hormones, your health history, all the things, you have very specific goals and very specific nutritional needs. Okay. Protein is the macronutrient most needed for body transformation, and it's needed so that you can maintain muscle or not minimize muscle. Okay. So those are your macronutrients. Every food that you eat is going to break down into those three. Sugars are going to turn into carbs. Alcohol, as you can see, I put it on there, is decreases your body ability to recover and is toxic to the liver and brain. I'm sure there's benefits to social settings and to having people have fun, but there's not benefits nutritionally. Okay. Fiber, we got 2 calories per gram, and fiber promotes healthy digestion, which helps with burning calories and decrease inflammation. So fiber is really important. Something that I didn't put on here quite yet is that everybody should really focus on, we have all women on the call right now, so everyone should really focus on 25 to 30 grams of fiber per day. Okay, so I know, yes, you're looking at the back of everything and you're looking for protein. You might be now looking at carbs and fats, but I need you to also look at fiber. Fiber is going to be very, very important because you want healthy digestion, right? If you have gut health issues, you need more fiber, or you need the right amount of fiber for you, right? So those things are going to be very, very important to be mindful of, because it's not just about eating all the chicken breasts and hitting 150 grams of protein. The goal is to have a really balanced, colorful diet so that you can feel good, so that you can support your eye health, your bone health, your immunity, all the things, right? So on your worksheet, you should have this page, which is pretty much a list of carbs, fats, and proteins. Right here in the middle, you have proteins, which is 30 grams of protein. So I'm gonna read some off, but you guys have this as an example, or actually you don't have this one as an example, but you could screenshot this if you need to. Organic chicken breast, 4 ounces is 30 grams of protein. 5 whole eggs, 30 grams of protein. 1 cup of cottage cheese, 30 grams of protein. 5 ounces of grass-fed beef. 5 ounces of salmon. 2 cups of beans. Mind you, when people say, oh, I eat beans, so therefore I eat a lot of protein, notice you need 2 cups of beans to have 30 grams of protein. If I were to have the rest of the macronutrient breakdown for this, that 2 cups of bean also has about 50 to 60 grams of carbs. So in that case, since it has more carbs than it has protein, that is more of a carb source, right? Just like cheese. Cheese has protein, but I don't know how much cheese you would need for 30 grams of protein. Gosh, it'd be a lot. But you would probably have like 75 grams of fat for 30 grams of cheese. Does that make sense? So when people are like, oh, I was at a party, but it's okay, I had cheese and crackers the whole time, so I had my protein and my carb. I'm like, ma'am, you had fat and you had a lot of fat, and that is okay. Like, we're gonna talk about how it's maybe a better choice than the ambrosia salad, or maybe a better choice than, I don't know. But I want you to be aware that in that cheese, you have a ton more fat than you do protein. Okay, so be mindful. We will celebrate that you're being more mindful of the protein, but we also want to look at what do the other macronutrients look like. Tuna, 1 can, has 30 grams of protein. Ground turkey, 4 ounces. Bone broth. Gosh, if you guys are okay with bone broth, that is such a win. And if you're ever sick and you cannot hold solids and you need to drink something that has a lot of protein, bone broth, 3 cups of bone broth, 30 grams of protein. That's really impressive. So if you want to put that in your rice, in your beans, if you want to put that in your soup, now you got a ton more protein than just regular vegetable broth, right? Pork chop, 4 ounces. 1 cup of tempeh. We have 1.5 cup of lentils. Again, higher carbs. Protein powder, you get to choose which one. Be mindful of what it says on the back. 5 ounces of bison, and then liver and organ meat. I've never tried that. I don't know if I will, but it seems to have a lot of protein, so that's cool. 3 ounces for 30 grams. That's pretty impressive. All right. Any questions on macronutrients? I feel like this is going to be kind of a learning curve for everyone. I know some people are like, oh, peanut butter has protein, and I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yes, but in 2 ounces of peanut butter, you have 17 grams of fat and 7 grams of protein. So now what is that? More of a fat source, right? So just little things like that I want us to be mindful. These are things I've just heard in the past that I want to acknowledge, and things that I used to think myself. So any questions on macronutrients? And that's a lot of info. Sorry, y'all. Well, I'm not sorry. This is good. All right. So what is the big deal about protein? If you've hung out with Brittany and I for a long time, you know that we do not shut up about protein, and you're welcome. Okay. You need it. And this is why. I'm going to literally read it from here, and on your worksheet, it has it literally copied and pasted on, because I don't want you guys to miss this, and I want you guys to really understand this. Okay. So when it comes to transforming your body, which is for the most part why everyone's here, right? Everyone wants to either get stronger, look leaner, feel better, etc. So that's transforming your body. Protein is the most important macronutrient. Protein provides the building blocks for our muscles. By consuming adequate protein, we ensure to minimize muscle breakdown. Mind you, we are all women. Naturally, as we age, we are losing muscle. But if you choose to prioritize minimum of 100 grams of protein, you can choose to potentially keep on some of your muscle. Mind you, you have more strength training, you'll keep more muscle. You're intentional with all the other things, you'll possibly keep more muscle. But naturally, as we age, we are losing muscle, okay? So not eating enough protein in a calorie deficit can result to muscle loss. Not eating enough protein in a building phase can make it impossible to grow muscles. Not eating enough protein in a maintenance phase can cause serious health issues. Your daily protein intake not only depends on your goal, but also your age, your activity, your lean muscle mass. So some rough guidelines, again, I don't think anyone's going to currently do some math right here, but it's on your page for fat loss. And I want you to notice this, 2 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Notice in fat loss, muscle building, and overall health, in fat loss, you actually need more protein than you do when you're building muscle. You're welcome. I hope you guys see these numbers and that hits you differently, right? So that when you are ready and you have gotten through all the prerequisites to go through the fat loss phase, you're not like, oh, it's so hard to hit the 100 grams. I don't know why I'm not losing weight. This is why. Because you need 2 to 2.2 grams per kilogram, right? And I did the math because I wanted to make sure. For me, I weigh 150 pounds as of today, and I should be eating 130 to 150 grams. Well, 133.6 is the 2 kilograms that I should be eating of, oh my gosh, sorry, 133 grams of protein that I should be eating for fat loss. I want to put on more muscle mass as well while also lose fat. So I'm eating 150 grams of protein. Okay. So if you also want to lose weight and you want to change your body composition, an easy way to break this down, other than these 2.2 kilograms of body weight, all the things, think of your goal weight. Okay. And I'm normally not one to highlight goal weight, but let's start with me where I started in my journey. I was 169. Okay. My goal weight was 145. I got to 145, but we put my protein at 150. You want to match your protein to the weight you want, but in grams. I hope that makes that a little bit more simple. Okay. So just keep in mind that the 100 grams that we're striving for right now is good, but we still might need to add some more protein. Okay. So that doesn't mean to sound daunting. I just want you to know that could also be the reason why we're not seeing the results as quickly as we would want. Okay. But we need to start small and build up from there. Is this helpful?
I have a question, Angel. Yes, it's very
Please,
helpful.
yes.
It's Wendy.
Yeah.
So on fat loss, let's
Mhm.
say right now I weigh 210 pounds.
Uh-huh.
My goal, realistically, or am I going realistic goal or am I going like ultimate goal?
Let's go first weight loss goal. So if you want to say realistic, sure. Let's start with that one.
I would say just hitting 199, or
Okay.
200 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So 10 pounds, because I've been like at this weight for a long time, and I'm like, I can't get past this.
Okay.
So what would be the math, or what would be the math? So am I doing 200 times 2.0?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
I'm lost right now.
Okay. So 200 and what's your current weight?
I'm 210.
210. Okay, so I see what you're saying. So then but you're gonna go your goal weight, right? So that makes sense. So let's go ahead and just put 190 for example. So 190, you'll need to get that in kilograms, right? So that'll be divided by 2.1 or 2.2. And then from there, you're gonna go ahead and multiply that. Well, anyways, then we're back to we're back to 2. Mind you, I'm not a math whiz, so I might be messing this all up. But
or
you're
can you give
probably
me an
gonna be
example
needing
with
to-
your weight?
Yeah, let's just use the example with my weight. So my weight was, man, and I was like, someone's gonna ask this, and I'm gonna.
I'm so sorry.
No, I was like, and my math's gonna be so messed up. I'm just kidding. I was like, no,
Or we
no,
could
that is
circle
okay.
back later.
No, you're okay, and I'm not mad about it. So let's use it with my weight. So I'm gonna put 150. We're gonna divide that by the 2.1. And then Brittany,
Okay,
if
that
you
was my
already have
question.
it down, then freaking answer it for me because I'm boiling. Okay, 2.2 is kilograms, so 68. So 68 times, I like to put myself at the higher amount, but let's just go ahead and put you at the lower amount, the 2. So 136. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do yours really quick, sorry. 2.2. So that's 90 kilograms. You're at 90.9 kilograms, okay, times 2. So your goal would be to eat 181 grams of protein.
I'm sorry, one more time. The last
181 grams of protein. Oh, you want me to break it all down for you? Oh, girl. Let me message you that. I'm just kidding. No. So
oh, that's okay. I was trying to do.
You were trying to do it. So then you're gonna go 200 pounds, and then you're gonna find your kilograms. What is 200 pounds? Convert that to kilograms. So that is oh my gosh, I just
divided by 2.1. You said
2.2 actually. So that's 90.9. And if anyone else is following, do it with us. But there are calorie calculators online that you can use. I didn't want to go through that because that's going to be our next month's topic, more on like specific things.
On WhatsApp?
90.9. I can hear you, Mom, so just a heads up, but you're good. You and Canelo. So 90.9, and then you're going to go ahead and multiply that times the 2, and then that's where you get your 180.8, 181.8.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm sick
Oh,
right
don't
now
be
and I have
sorry.
a little
Don't
bit
be
of brain
sorry.
fog, and I'm like, yeah. So I hope something else sounded beneficial, but I appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure. No, don't be sorry at all. That is honestly, I was slightly prepared for it, but more nervous about someone asking because my math is so rough. No,
No,
but
it
you're
was
good.
good. Thank you.
Of
Appreciate
course,
it.
of course. All right, so next slide here is food quality. I think it's very important for us to be mindful of our food quality. I know that as soon as I say we need to eat more protein, people go to the Costco's, the Walmarts, the grocery stores, and we're looking for anything that is packaged with more protein, right? We have the protein cereal, the protein pancakes, the protein bars, the protein shakes. I hear you. That is good. I get that I've been honing in on protein, and my goal is not for you to buy every box that has more protein with this, more protein with that. The goal is to eat more whole foods, right? So we need to look at the micronutrients. So macronutrients, carbs, fats, proteins. Micronutrients are all those small vitamins, minerals, your fibers, your vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin B, all those things. Those are micronutrients, okay? Does it have a lot of calories? So if you're buying something, you can be mindful of the calories, but I don't want you to only buy, let's say, for example, the yogurt that is low calorie, right? If there's a yogurt that is higher calorie, mind you, 140 grams is already considered higher calorie, which is crazy. Something that is 100 or less is considered low calorie in the stores. That kills me, but whatever. And that low calorie yogurt probably has 9 grams of protein, but some people that are just focused on calorie are going to buy it because it says low calorie, right? And they're trying to lose weight. But now that we know what we know about protein, and you say this one that has 90 calories, only, what did I say? 9 grams of protein. And then this one has 140 calories and this one has 20 grams of protein. I hope that after this call that you grab the ones that have 20 grams of protein. Okay. It's not only about eating low calorie foods, because now we know eating more protein will keep you fuller longer, keep you feeling better, all the things. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. How much volume does the food provide, right? If I hope everyone has a food scale, if we're maybe not there on that relationship with food, I totally understand. But if you do have a food scale, I want you to challenge yourself today to weigh out 100 grams of your favorite foods, right? 100 grams of spinach is a whole tub, whole tub, and it's massive. And that's food volume, right? Where you can eat more of something, but it weighs this amount and it has this amount of nutrients and all the things. Versus if you're going to go through drive-through and you get Burger King, that small thing is going to be like 700 calories depending on what you get, versus this salad can be massive. This is the volume, right? Volume of something that is a whole food versus a processed food. Okay, so I want you to think of things like that. Is it raw or cooked? Having veggies that are raw are going to make you chew more, make you slow down more, have more fiber, different things. Is it easy to digest? Mind you, all these things get to be super individualized to you. If you have something that you cannot chew hard foods, then don't go buy something because it has more fiber, but you can't chew it or it doesn't sit well with you. It all gets to be mindful to how your body digests and how you process things. Okay. So food quality refers much less to whether the food is organic, regional, lab grown, sugar-free, dairy-free. Yes, this does play a role, but when we want to make sure that for the calories and the macros we get, we're choosing the most nutritious food. That's what I was explaining right now. It helps to consume enough vitamins, minerals, stay healthy as possible while changing your body composition. So a super, super, super easy way to do this is eat colorfully, eat the rainbow. Like if I could get Marilyn to share in a second or whenever she wants to, I would love how she started her health journey, because it started with nutrition. She started with cooking her own food instead of going through the drive-through. She started with eating more colorfully and just saying like, hey, I know that I can go through a drive-through and it'll take me 10 minutes, but when I get home, I can cook a meal for myself in 10 minutes. I'm going to do that. And that's honoring herself. That's honoring her hunger. That's honoring the fact that she can, one, not only save money and not buy something from somewhere else, but make something. And that's now a self-love and a self-trust type of thing. There's so much healing in that. So I get that we love convenience, and I get that sometimes time requires us to choose the convenience options, like the delivery services, the Instacarts. I get that. But there's something about going and hand picking your own apples, going and hand picking the pieces of salmon you want that butcher to give you. All those things. It's just a different level of awareness and stuff. So I hope that makes sense and hits a little differently here. All right, meal prepping and meal planning. Okay, this is super important, and this is also on your worksheet. Prepping successfully for your week. Every week is going to look different, especially whether you have kids, you don't have kids, work, whatever it looks like. You may have some busier days. So I want you to look at your schedule and your life load for the upcoming week, right? Today is Sunday. This is a really great day to do this. What do you need more? What do you need more of this week? Do you need more on the food, more on the go foods? Do you need foods that don't require a microwave? What worked well for you last week? Did you meal prep your breakfast and your lunch? Did you just meal prep lunch? Do you maybe need to, or what didn't work well for you? You're like, okay, I got my first 2 meals down, but I didn't even plan for my 3rd meal of the day. Maybe I need to Instacart some groceries by Wednesday because I already finished all the food for the family that by Monday, whatever that is, right? And then what is your success system? Make a grocery list, let's say Saturday, right? So you're not just jamming it all on Sunday. Look up some recipes that you're excited about, that you think that you would enjoy. If you like the bean and cheese burrito, then maybe you find something like a bean and cheese burrito on Pinterest, but how can you add more protein to that? Or how can you make that more nutritious, right? Grocery shopping or getting your groceries delivered, whatever that looks like. And then being intentional with time blocking, whether that's 2 hours, 1 hour to meal prep, okay? Marilyn, are you willing to share? Because I cannot lie that I do not cook. I don't make our meal preps. Marilyn is the one that makes our meal preps for myself, Brittany, and her mom every week. And it is just amazing because I write the list. Brittany will go in and she'll put in all the exact, she's like, babe, how many ounces of salmon do you have every morning? I'm like, oh, I have about 5 ounces. Okay, she'll multiply that out by the 6 days. Okay, how many ounces of chicken do you have for lunch? Okay, I have like 6 ounces. Multiply that out. And she plugs in all that, all the extra little things. We grocery shop and Marilyn meal preps it. And that is our household system. I get that for the most part, y'all might be the one person that does the thing that all 3 of us do together. And I get that. And I get that now you might have a kid or whatever the case may be, or life is just different. So you get to figure out what your success system looks like, but I can only share from what we know and what we do. Okay. So Marilyn, are you willing to share? Oh my God, Brittany, thank you for that note of the division. You were the best. I just seen that. I'm just seeing the chat.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I'm willing to share. Well, I don't know what you want me to share exactly. Just if you want to prompt me into.
Yeah, you know what? In the chat, if you guys also want to ask, like, what are some things, or even if you unmute yourself really quick, what are some things you are struggling with meal prepping wise? Is it the quote, and I'm saying quote unquote, it's not to minimize anything. I'm just saying, like, is it the time to meal prep? Is it the flow of meal prepping? Is it, I don't know what to meal prep? Is it, I'm tired of eating the same meal for the 5 days? Unmute yourself and share really quick, because Marilyn's helped us with all the things, whether she makes the chicken and we have 3 different things with that chicken, right? It's not that we eat the same thing every day, although we kind of don't mind sometimes. But yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask what you would like to know. And if not, then I'll just ask you to share. I don't have access to a microwave, so any foods that don't require that that don't require a microwave and that are good for on the road is good. Okay, so that's good to know. Well, we can definitely answer some of those. Brittany sometimes doesn't have access to a microwave too, so we've made that work. But Marilyn, let me have you start with sharing like how you start cooking all the things to make sure you get it done in like 2 hours or so. Like, because I know some people just find it really daunting to even start, or like don't know where to start, or feel like it's gonna take all day Sunday to do it. What is your system right now?
Well, luckily, you guys do the grocery shopping, so that makes it a little bit easier to have everything in the house, obviously. But I think it's important to cook your main focus. So because this house is obviously very focused on the protein, and usually your protein takes a little bit longer to cook. If you have that already done, adding the other sides, the fats and the carbs are easier daily versus having a protein source literally there ready for you. So I think protein is very important to knock out first. And like I said, depending on the protein you choose, the timing and the cook timing is longer for those than the vegetables or the carb that you have, whatever. So yeah, definitely prepping, knowing what you want to eat for that week. So if it's chicken, if you need something on the go and maybe you need to freeze something so that you can microwave it before you go, or if it's a cold food like a tuna salad or something that you can like easily, something like that. But so we kind of have an idea of what the meals or the possibility of the meals could be based on the protein. So there's that. And then you do your carbs and yeah, your fat. So I'll knock out some rice. I'll also do sometimes the roasted potatoes or whatever it is for that week. And then the veggies. So whatever. And that's cool because you can rotate either what's in season or what you really like. So there's broccoli, cauliflower, all the things. So really, I think the important thing is that you should prep not the one thing, but the main focus of the three. If you're working on eating more colorfully because your protein is down, okay, so let's make sure you get all the rainbow down before or while you're cooking that protein, or if you're working on, so just little things like that. If you're working on having things ready to go, let's make sure that the portions are ready to go as you're cooking and preparing that, so that anything to minimize any of the challenges that might arise on the go, while you're getting ready for work the next day or down the line. But,
Yeah, perfect. So what I heard was make your protein first, right? And whether you have one protein source or two, start with that and figure out how you can then add colors with either the carbs and the fats, correct?
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. And to answer Erica's question, something that we really enjoy to eat, but well, let me share this first. The tuna salad is really helpful. So I normally eat when I'm on the go and I sit and I do my hair for 8 hours. Mind you, I go every like 3 to 6 months, so it's not all the time. But I don't really have access to a microwave, right? So I get tuna salad, or I'm sure you can make chicken salad as well. And that is cold, and I just have that with a cheese stick and sometimes I do chips because I just love chips, or my pretzel things. So things like that, sandwiches, and sometimes Brittany like constructs her own sandwich and she doesn't have everything already together so the bread doesn't get soggy, but we've done that before. Brittany, can I have you on mute and share what are some things that you've had that like are on the go for when you don't have access to a microwave? I feel like you've definitely experienced this.
The easiest one is tuna.
Right.
That's the easiest, because you can have that however. If you don't mind like the chicken cold in a salad, then that's kind of another one. Like a pre-packing spinach, because sometimes I'll know like I won't be in the office for a couple hours and I'm gonna eat my lunch on the road or eat at a job site. So those are kind of the two go-tos that I go with.
Yeah, that's true. I totally forgot about the salad. Salad is something that, you can have the protein cold or whatever that looks like, and that's still really delicious. So cool. Thank you. So on here, I gave you guys a basic meal prep formula. Okay. I know that we've talked about specific protein amount, but if you guys can prioritize 25 to 30 grams minimum, mind you, that could be up to 50, whatever, of protein per meal prep, that's going to be great, right? So that's going to range anywhere between 3 to 6 ounces of protein. Okay, I put on there 4 to 6 ounces. Then half a cup of carbs, might be, if you're in a bulk season or maintenance, that might be all the way up to a cup, depending on what that looks like for you. And then 1 to 2 cups of veggies, again, just mindful of making it nice and colorful and whatever that looks like. I put some examples here. These are all things that we've had in the past. We used to love our sloppy joes. Marilyn used to really make these. The stuffed peppers a lot. We haven't really had the spring rolls, but I think that that's also a really great option that could be cold as well. Rice, salmon, oh my God, all the time. The noodles, we love noodles here too. So anyways, so I think it's really important for you to make a list of your favorite carbs, fats, and proteins. It doesn't need to look like this, right? I get that there's a lot of green on here. Maybe you hate broccoli. I get it, whatever. But you get to find other veggies that work for you, because you still need to support your gut health. You still need to be mindful, and we're all adults. We get to find what really works for us. And even if you only like 3 fruits or 3 veggies, then you run with those 3 and you make the best out of that, right? So make a list of 3 to 5 meals that you really enjoy, and then maybe figure out what are some adjustments that you need to make. Do you just need to add more slices of turkey meat to that sandwich that you really enjoy already? Or to that bean and cheese burrito, maybe we just add 4 ounces of chicken, and now that's a really great thing that you might enjoy. To that oatmeal, instead of having it just plain, can you add a scoop of protein powder that now that adds 20 grams of protein? Whatever that looks like, so that you can aim to get a more balanced meal so that you can stay full, feel better, etc. So on this next page, we're going to have a list of all of our household go-to grocery list. So we didn't give you this list for you. So if you want to get a screenshot of that, go ahead. But I don't think I necessarily need to read it. It's on there, but I'm a girl that loves my 6 ounces of salmon every morning. Cottage cheese has been a game changer if you do like the flavor. You can make so much with cottage cheese too. Mind you, again, I don't really cook, but when I pretend to, I've made it as like a sauce for something creamy, like a creamy chicken burrito something. And that was like the nacho creamy cheese was the cottage cheese blended. Oh my God, so good. We use the ultra filtered Fairlife non-fat milk. That milk for 1 cup has 13 grams of protein. That's freaking impressive. No fat feta cheese, 7 grams of protein. The excess protein shakes or drink, 25 grams of protein. Nutrilite plant-based protein powder, 21 grams of protein. Egg whites. Okay, so an egg has 7 grams of protein for the full egg, or sorry, yeah, 7 grams of protein for the full egg, 5 ounces for the egg white, but it has 7 fat for just the regular egg. So if you do love eggs, but you're normally eating like 2 eggs, now you have 14 grams of fat. If you want to be mindful of your fat intake, have 1 egg and do the rest egg white. So now you can have more protein, less fat, depending on where you're at and with your macros, etc. Okay. Carbs, you can choose what you like. We normally do rice, baked potatoes, carb balanced tortillas are our favorite. My keto bread is my favorite. Granola with our yogurt, beans, pretzels, etc. And then fruits and veggies, honestly, just choose whatever you like. But this is our list. This is what we use on it. Literally what our counter is going to look like later today when we go grocery shopping. Okay. Let's see. This is really important. We are almost done because I know that this is going a little bit long, but we have probably like a couple more slides. So food quality sweet spot. Okay. So this is the sweet spot for you to stay consistent with what you're doing with your nutrition, and to not just do it to get the summer body, but to do it all year long so that you can feel good, change your body composition, and have a better relationship with food. So number 1 is hunger management, right? It's going to be important for your hunger and appetite that let me just read this. Your hunger and appetite are directly correlated to your goals. During a fat loss phase, we want you to increase the volume and calorie ratio to keep your hunger low. So again, thinking of that bowl of spinach versus that small hamburger, whatever that is. During a building phase, we want you to decrease the volume because you're going to need to eat more food. So having a spinach salad takes a little bit longer. Have something smaller, decrease the volume and the calorie ratio so you can consume and digest bigger amounts of calories, right? I don't think anyone here is technically on a building phase, so you guys can kind of ignore that for now. But it's good for you to know that we need more volume, things that give you more volume, right? Next is going to be micronutrients and fiber. We want to make sure that your diet covers your essential nutrient needs. Also, your fiber intake will likely play a big role in your health and digestion. Again, this is what I'm saying when I'm mentioning eating colorfully, the leafy greens, things that have enough fiber. So make sure that now that is something obviously on top of your protein and just in general, all your macronutrients that it's important for you to consume, that you're also looking at how much fiber you're intaking. Okay. So even if you did a food log and you added it up manually, or download MyFitnessPal and just start scanning stuff just to be aware of where you're at. Okay. So that's important. And then last but not least, what's going to help is the adherence. It will not be possible to, adherence. I don't know if I fully said that. It will not be possible to sustain an overly strict and restrictive diet, no matter if you are dieting or building. I share this because I know that in the past or currently, some people are eating anywhere between 900 to 1200 calories, and that is not sure. You're going to lose weight fast and you're going to be excited that you're losing weight fast. I get that. It's exciting to see the weight on the scale go down when you are making changes, but we got to be mindful if those changes are even healthy changes, right? So if you're eating way too low, that is not going to be helpful for long term. Yes, let's say you lose the 30 pounds you wanted to lose, but then what? You can't go lower than 1200 calories. You can't go lower than 900 calories. You can't keep moving at that rate and think you're going to sustain that. You're actually going to harm your hormones, harm your sleep, your immunity system, and just all the things, your body. And yeah, there's just so much to it. So that's why adherence is super important. We want to design a long-term diet that works for you by including your favorite foods. Okay, so that's super important. So having something that matches all those, that we get to that sweet spot, is really my goal as your coach, to help you find that and to help you get there. But you have to be willing to want to change. You have to be willing to take some of this advice and run with it. And yes, we're not perfect. We're not going to apply it all at once, but these are things that you can start learning and applying to find that sweet spot sooner, to get to the body goal, the health goal, the whatever it is that you're working towards. Okay, so that's super important to go over. Ooh, meal timing and size. This is also just straight copy and pasted into your worksheet, because this does have a lot of information. But in general, I want to tell you that when you should be when should you eat and how much. Okay, in general, it's really good to keep a regular meal schedule. Okay, that's going to be good for your body to know that it's gonna get food every day at 8 a.m., every day at 12 noon, and again at 6 p.m., whatever those times are for you. That it could be any times. Having a regular schedule is going to be good, better results, better adherence, and saves you a ton of time. Okay, no matter if you are in a fat loss or a building phase, you want to make sure it's as convenient as possible so that you can stick to your calories / your macro goals. Okay, so having that meal prep ready, knowing what your week looks like, there's so much prep that goes into this, but it'll make it worth it in the long run. Okay, so regular meals improve your sleep quality, increase your energy levels, boost your training performance, and improve your stress level and stress management. Sorry. When should you eat and how much? Whether in a fat loss or a building phase, it doesn't matter. You need to eat 3 to 5 meals a day. Okay. When I say meals, some of those might be snacks. Okay. But in general, just every time you eat is considered a meal in this, how I wrote this. So this will help lower your hunger, keep your energy, not only for training, but just for everyday life. Okay. Spread out your protein evenly. That's why we like to say at least 30 grams of protein. But let's say, for example, if your goal is 150 grams of protein, I can either do 3 meals at 50 grams of protein, right? Or I can do 3 meals at 30 and then another 2 snacks at, what is that? 30, 90. Oh my gosh. 20 grams, another 20 grams per snack, something like that, right? That's a little bit more even. Okay. So that's kind of how you would spread that out. Your goal is to not eat freaking 100 grams of protein right before bed or in the morning. Like just spread it out is pretty much what I'm trying to say. Pre and post workout, it's really important for you to eat enough carbs pre and post workout. Okay. If you want a rough guideline, it's going to be 30 to 35% of carbs before your workout. Okay. So whether your bread, your rice, your granola, your whatever else just has carbs. Okay. Something I'm going to share next is that you actually don't want to have any fats prior to working out. Fats take longer to digest, and it's really not ideal for training. So I'm not going to have a cheese stick and nuts before training because that's super high fat, right? I'm probably going to have something that's maybe like my pretzels, or something I've really been enjoying lately has been my granola and banana and my Fairlife milk. And that has that has proteins and carbs, and that's perfect. It has 50 grams of carbs, and that's what I need before my workout. It might be different for you. So that's hopefully helpful to learn. Ooh, we're hitting the time, but I'm gonna finish this in these last 2 minutes. Okay. Thanks for hanging out here, guys. So much. Hydration. Okay. Things that are important to know. Drink as much water as you can without turning your pee transparent. When you turn your pee transparent, you're getting rid of all your electrolytes. You need those, guys. Okay. So if you start getting headaches, even though you are super hydrated, it's because you might have peed out your electrolytes. So keep a little bit of that color in there. Sparkling water and flat are both good. Prioritize drinking water over any other liquid to boost your metabolism. So yes, drink more water than you drink coffee, please. Okay. And start your day by drinking 32 ounces of water. That'll just set you up for success. You'll walk into a more hydrated, more cognitive function awareness of yourself, and you'll just feel so much better. So it's important for your performance, your recovery, and your health. I know the big water bottles are super obnoxious and they may not be aesthetically pleasing, but please, please, please prioritize your water intake. And if you need that big water bottle, do it, because I get that we might have like a case of water with us at all time or 2 water bottles, but that is 16 ounces of water. 16 ounces is barely 32 ounces. That's what you should just be having as soon as you wake up. That is not enough to have on you. Okay. So please have enough water, and don't I know for me, it's one of the past excuses, and I get that you might not have the privilege to get up and go to a restroom right away. So be mindful when you drink it. But if you do have the privilege of whether working from home or working somewhere where you do have access to a restroom, drink enough water. Don't be, oh, I don't want to be unproductive with my work, therefore I don't want to drink my water. Please drink the water. Your body will thank you for it. Your muscles will thank you for it. Your brain and everything else. Okay. So last but not least, the transformation cycle. I'm flying through this because I feel bad that it's going a little long, but I want to make sure this is the part I was honestly most excited about. Have you ever felt like you don't know why you can't lose weight or achieve the aesthetic goals you've been striving for years? You keep increasing your movement and cutting your calories in hopes you get closer to your goal. Whether in the chat or you can unmute, actually just in the chat, let me know if you've ever felt this way. I know I have, and yeah, so it's not fun. So I am really excited to teach you how not to do that long term. So this is why I hear you, Wendy, same girl. So transformation cycle. This is also on your worksheet, and it is literally copy and pasted because it is a lot of information that I want you to keep and to know and to learn on your own as well as with me. So we have 4 different phases of a transformation cycle. Most people, when they come to me, they want to start right off the bat losing weight. And I hear you. I get you. You hire a trainer because you're fed up of being fed up. You're sick and tired of being tired. And you want to get the quote unquote weight off, or you want to increase the muscle mass, which would be considered a building phase, whatever that is, right? But there may be some prerequisites like healing your relationship with food, calming down your nervous system, being more aware of the foods and just the different factors that affected your relationship with food. All that, those are all things that are very, very, very important prior to a fat loss phase. Okay, so that's not even written on here, but I want to make sure I go over that. So let me start with the fat loss phase. 12 to 24 weeks is how long is a good amount for your body to be under stress, because it is stressful to be in a fat loss phase. Okay, so in a fat loss phase, what happens? Our goal is to lose, for the most part, a significant amount of body fat, to maintain muscle, improve body composition, so body shape, and improve hormone profile. Okay, so everyone wants that, but it takes so much work to get there. So if you come to me and you have been dieting for years and you've been at 1,200 calories for years and you don't know why you can't lose weight, you are not starting on a fat loss phase, my friend. You are going to start at a maintenance phase. Okay, but I'll explain that in a second. Fat loss, that's what that looks like. Then you have a reverse diet. Reverse diet is 6 to 8 weeks. Increases the calories to maintain your weight. So for example, if you lost weight during your fat loss, and I'm going to talk about myself. I got down to 145 and now I'm on a reverse diet. I did my 24 weeks reverse diet. I have 8 weeks of reverse diet, meaning my coach is increasing my carbs little by little so that I can maintain my weight, instead of celebrating that I got down the 20 something pounds and then going all out and then gaining it all back and some. I want to get my body to eat more amount of food, but still maintain that weight. And while not gaining too much body fat, it needs to be planned and structured in a way to not gain all the way back, which is right there on the bullet points. Then we have a maintenance, right? A maintenance is going to be 12 to 24 weeks. This is to establish the new weight. So if my fat loss weight, the end of my fat loss weight was 145, my reverse diet, my goal is to stay right around that 145. For my maintenance, I might just gain that 5 pounds more. So I might be 150, and that might be my maintenance weight. And based on that, if my lowest calorie intake for my fat loss was 1,300 calories, which is pretty low, very low actually, my goal is to get my maintenance somewhere around 2,000 calories, which means I'm eating 700 more calories than I was at the weight that I got that at. Does that make sense? So eating more food allows your body to not be as stressed, gives your hormones a break, gives your body a break, and there's just your immune system, you sleep better. There's so much to it. So it's important to stay here for the time listed, especially if it's your first time through this transformation cycle. And then lastly, it's building. And sometimes people think like, oh, I'm never going to want to build. But if you want the aesthetic look of, let's just say, for example, an hourglass figure or having a smaller waist and a bigger butt, that means you got to build the booty. You're not going to build the booty by just losing fat. A booty is muscle. Okay, so just to help you there. So building phase can last anywhere between 12 weeks to 104 weeks. Okay, this is where you get to eat in a surplus. You grow your muscles to help create the shape you want, whether it's the butt, the shoulders, the lats, the abs. You get to grow your abs in a small way. That's still growing your abs, right? You make small break with mini cuts, so where you don't have to feel like you're eating so much. And then that should really just be about 5% up of your maintenance calories. So if my maintenance calories are about 2,000 calories, then whatever 5% is. So Brittany, you want to do the math, go for it. But I'm not going to do that math. So that's what this looks like. Okay. So many people, like I said, want to come to me going straight to this fat loss phase. That might not be the case, my friend. You may need to start in a maintenance to calm your nervous system. Then from the maintenance, then we can go to fat loss. We don't have to go to a build. We can go to a fat loss. Then from the fat loss, reverse, then maintenance, and then maybe a build depending on where you're at. Okay. So the next page is going to explain that you might not achieve the 100% shape or lose all the weight that you want in one transformation cycle. Okay. My goal was 135. I hit 145. Am I mad or sad? Not at all. I am grateful that I lost the 20 something pounds. That is really freaking cool. And I wasn't going to do it with what I was doing before and without this education. Okay. So why is it important to implement this transformation cycle with a specific structure? It's going to help your metabolism. Okay. Some people are like, oh, I've heard some of my clients go to the doctor and the doctors tell them like, oh, your metabolism's just doesn't work anymore, or your metabolism's shot. And like, that's horrible to hear from a doctor, because we give them all this power because they're a doctor, but there's so much that we can do to help your metabolism be better, but you can't be eating 900 to 12,000 calories. Okay. So when you're better your metabolism, help your hormones out, right? If you don't have your period, that's something that comes from this transformation cycle. We can help you get that, but that is because your body is under a lot of stress. Nervous system, right? We may not think that our nervous system is like working hard for us, but if there's a lot of different things, like your sleep isn't consistent, you don't feel well throughout the day, you're drained, all these different things, that means your nervous system is working on overdrive, and we need to get you to that maintenance and find that first. Okay. And then most of the time, one transformation cycle is not enough to achieve your dream shape, and it's important to respect the length of each cycle and the order of the cycle. Okay, so super, super, super important. I've had so many of my clients, again, wanting to start with the fat loss, and I've actually put them on the most calories they've ever been on, learn to enjoy the food, heal that relationship with food a bit. And then we went down little by little by little. But when people want to go straight into the shortcut, sure, you're going to lose the weight, but I'm sure you're going to gain it back just as fast. And that is not the goal here, my friends. That is not the goal, at least not with me. So I believe I'm almost done. Yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me. My vision was to educate, empower, and to impact you in a way that you guys can feel better about your health and your growth journey, about your body, and about making an impact with whoever it is that you come across and want to share this experience with. So thank you for your time, and cheers to growth and goodness. I do want to give you guys a little chance to unmute yourselves and share anything that really resonated with you for these last 2 minutes, and then that's a wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and close that screen.
Angel.
Yes.
This is Blanca. What you
Hola.
said right now was really important. I really got my attention about like starting first with kind of working with the relationship with food
Yeah.
first before you start going into, this other phase. That makes sense to me
Awesome.
because for me, that's where the issues are. Like, as you know, I don't kind of like eat enough. And then when I do put the calories, I'm not, I'm definitely better now, but
Mhm.
I don't, I'm paying attention to the calories that I'm putting into my body, but I don't necessarily, put enough. So I'm working on it and trying to just get better at it. And so
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. I hope, yeah, that cycle's been super helpful for a lot of my clients that just needed that last little click. They're like, I know I need to do something better, but like, we just needed to see the phases, right? And so I'm glad that that was helpful. And yeah, we might just be at a place where we need to get you to a maintenance or a building, which again sounds kind of intimidating, but it's just enough to heal your relationship with food, get your nervous system a little bit more calm. And then as you get more sleep, you feel better, you're moving a little bit more, then we can get you a little bit down to those fat loss numbers if that's really where you want to be. So thank you for sharing. I'm glad that was helpful. Cool. Brittany, you're unmuted. I don't know if it's because you want to share or just because you happen to be unmuted, but let me know.
I
She's
can
like,
share.
no.
I think the cycles were really empowering and really something I never knew. So I think that's something I'm gonna have to dive into. Because my goal is to like lose the weight, but then it's contradictory because I know when we talked, I'm like, but I want to build like a booty. I want, and so it's just I have to get rid of that westernized thinking of like losing weight and getting the low fats and stuff. And the protein really like the excessiveness of it, the necessity of it really like it was just really, really surprising. So it's gonna be really fun to navigate a life around that truth
Sure.
where Western culture has always shamed you for overeating,
Right. I totally hear that. And that's so tough. And I think that's why I really wanted to put together these monthly growth game plans because one, every single one of you here have worked with me in the past or are currently working with me. So this is again very exclusive. No problem, babe. This is very exclusive to my clients and any paid members. So thank you guys again for being here. That's a big deal. But that's why I'm doing this because I want to educate you guys so that when you're scrolling through Instagram, you can kind of sniff out the fluff, right? The stuff that is just like kind of nonsense and the stuff that you're like, okay, this is more in alignment with what I've learned, or what's better. And that's okay. We're gonna see a lot of things and there's things we got to do our own research on. And there's things you can ask me, and that's even better, right? Which is something that you've done in the past, right? You send me, this is what I've seen. What do you think? I love that. But yeah, giving you guys that breakdown of what it is, what's really important, because it's so easy to go back to work and all the ladies at work talking about how they're doing a juice cleanse, how they're going to fast for 12 days and how they're going to only have cayenne pepper for lunch and how this is going to give them their dream body and restart. And like, sure, that is okay. You can do those in trial and error if you want. I'm not saying it's the worst or the best, but what I'm saying is that if you want to make long-term healthy choices for your body, you just got to get educated and you got to have some guidance and some structure behind it. Because yes, the people at work can lose weight on the Red Bulls and the beef jerky. Sure. Is that how you want to lose your weight though? So I share that and like, sure, I'm making it funny, but like, it's just so real because not everyone should be sharing about their nutrition guidance. Does that make sense? So I really am grateful that you guys were on this and that it hopefully made sense. Does anyone else want to share? I'm going to check the chat really quick. Oh, enjoy your burrito, babe. Eat slow. Take 3 deep breaths. But again, thank you guys so much for being on. It was really fun to share with you guys. I know I had a lot of info. I hope you guys take time to print out that workbook and to fill in whatever it is you need. You will all still get a copy of this sent to your email and you can rewatch it if you want. But yeah, I really, really hope this was helpful. And I'm glad that you guys took some time to share and hopefully take some notes. But anyways, thank you for spending Sunday morning with me. And I will see you guys later in the week. Toodles.
Thank you. Toodles.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Toodles. See some of you at 2:00. I'm just kidding. Let me see. How can I stop recording? Stop.